entrepreneur, supermom, and the newest housewife on the Real Housewives of Dubai. Taleen Marie, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited to chat with you. Real Housewives of Dubai, one of my all-time favorite franchises. So,
Oh,
what
that's so sweet. Thank you.
what has it been like being part of one of the biggest franchises in the world, the Real Housewives?
It's definitely surreal. I mean, Real Housewives has been on for what, like I think like 20 years, right? I
Almost.
almost like, and I grew up kind of seeing a few of the franchises, so it's definitely a trip. But it's even cooler because this is the first international franchise from Bravo, and
Right.
the fact that I can be a part of it is it's amazing. I'm very, very grateful.
What is it like being able to share your life to the world? Is there anything that's been surprising or that caught you off guard?
And I keep saying this, the biggest thing for me was just how real the drama actually is. A lot of people say, they're like, well, reality TV, it's staged, it's scripted. No, this was 1000% real. And you just kind of have to navigate, right? Because it's all kind of happening in real time. So I think that was like my biggest shock in all of it.
For many viewers, this is their first opportunity to see and learn about the world of Dubai portrayed on screen. What are some of the biggest misconceptions about Dubai, and what are the best parts about living in Dubai?
Well, I think Dubai, it's definitely changed a lot. It's evolved. I remember when I first moved out there 10 years ago, like my friends were like, blink twice if you need help. Like what's happening over there? Have you been kidnapped? And like what's going on? But it's the polar opposite. If anything, there's so much empowerment, especially for women. It's really come a long way. It's very much like LA or New York. It's very metropolitan. I mean, it's a city. The nightlife is incredible. And now having children, I would have to say for me, it's as a mother and raising a family, it's one of the best places to live because it's so safe. And, we're blessed to have, such help, and just the quality of life over there is so much better. And it's very forward in every sense of the way.
Obviously, we get to see you share your family with the world, your
Yeah,
amazing husband, your amazing children.
thank
Have
you.
they been enjoying the experience as well?
Well, it's funny, and I was talking to my glam team, or I was talking to my friend. I'm like, when we first started filming, actually before we started filming, my husband was like, I don't want to do this. What are you doing? Because he's been in this country, he's been in Dubai for a while, right? And he has a reputation. He works with the government, and a lot of these franchises, they're built on scandal and drama. Let me tell you something, Michael. By episode like 2, he's like, "Where's my makeup team? Where's my lighting?" Like, oh, he's the eighth housewife. He likes this more than I do, I think. So
Oh,
no,
I
and
love
he's
that.
he's incredible in the fact that he's so supportive, and he adds so much to the show as well because he is such a big personality. I always tell him, I'm like, you were also made for this. Also, my kids, they love it. I wonder where they get it from. They love being in front of the camera. But it was definitely it was a big decision. It wasn't an overnight thing. Our children are young, especially when we filmed. They were 3 and 1, and we really had to think about, do we want to do this? But because Dubai is so safe, and because the country has been so good to us, we wanted to share everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Now, obviously, you are an incredible mom, but you
Thank
have
you.
some amazing personal projects, some businesses that you are a part of. What can you
Yes.
share? And what is it like balancing these brilliant projects and motherhood?
Look, the balance, I'm a Libra. So we we always look for balance, and the balance is not easy, but like I said, I do have an incredible team in Dubai, so it definitely helps. But in terms of, you know, the entrepreneurship, I've been in the fitness business, I would say for about 15 years. And when I came to Dubai, I saw a huge space for that, especially with women. And after having my first daughter, I dealt with a lot of postpartum depression and anxiety. And for me, fitness was such a way mentally, not just physically, out of that. So I really, you know, wanted to share that with my clients and with all women. And I feel like I mean everywhere really, but especially in Dubai, I feel like it's a bit taboo to kind of talk about that. So it was kind of, you know, reclaiming your identity as a woman, right? As the person you were before you had children. And that's why I really honed in on the fitness side of things, particularly with women postpartum. I'm working on that. I'm working on a fitness app that should be released very soon. I'm excited. I'm also part of an incredible cosmetic line called Citizen Cosmetics. We specialize in lipsticks, and I'm also working on a dating app. I had no idea
Ooh,
that I would
that's
ever
exciting.
step foot in the startup tech world, but I'm kind of trying to do it all and balance at the same time. Don't ask me how I'm doing it. I'm trying my hardest, but you know, we're incredible as women, and I really feel like we can do it all.
Well, let's talk about this season a little bit. When fans first were introduced to you, it revolves around a little incident at a Beyonce concert. First off, how was it seeing Beyonce live? That sounds like a dream come true.
For that weekend was like the Super Bowl weekend in Dubai. It was crazy. I mean, we had celebrities just flying in from everywhere. It was very iconic, and you couldn't even have like your cell phone there. Like it was very hush hush. I mean, I love me some Beyonce. It was incredible. It was unbelievable, and it was also, you know, the opening of the Royal Atlantis. So to have those two things, you know, hand in hand was a wow.
Now, the incident at question, I feel like it got blown out of proportion a little bit.
You
How
think?
did it get to that point, and why did it get to that point?
I'm gonna break it down. So literally, it wasn't even at the concert. It was that weekend at the Royal Atlantis. I love a good cocktail. Who doesn't? I was drinking cocktails. My husband was next to me. Caroline Brooks was with me. We were all having fun. Maybe I took a little bit of a trip, but there were no like naked cartwheels. There were no vajayjays, you know, in the mix. And now that I know Caroline Stanbury very well, it was definitely, and she was there actually with Nina Ali, the previous castmate. It was definitely said in a very like British
Sure.
bantery, you know what I mean? Like very jokingly way, right? And I guess the next day she had called Caroline, and this is before we started filming. This was, I think, at least a month or
Mhm.
3 weeks to a month before we started filming. So she had called Brooks and she said, "Oh, you know, Taleen definitely knows how to have a good time. You know, I saw her topple over, and that's when, you know, Vaginagate started." Then where it got to, and the telephone game and how it was presented to me and brought onto the show just became very convoluted and a little, it's like the telephone game, right?
Of
And
course.
yeah, and it just kept being brought up. And now that I know Caroline, and even when I didn't know her, I mean, on the show, when she told me straight up, she said it in a joking way. And, you know, she was taking the piss, and I'm all about that. And I roll with the punches, you know, I like literally move forward. But it kept being brought up and it kept becoming an issue. I really didn't take offense to it. In the beginning, I did because of how it was presented to me. But once I realized that it's just banter, I moved on. I
Yeah.
moved on.
Obviously, one of your first friends when you came to Dubai was Caroline Brooks.
Yes.
Have you two had issues in the past prior to the show, or do you think the show really amplified something that was there?
That is a great question. Yes, we have had issues before. She's not the easiest person to get along with. And I don't mean that in such a negative way. She's a
Sure.
very like strong personality. She's an alpha, right? Very opinionated, very, it's either black or white, no shades of gray. Like she sticks to her guns, right? So we've kind of butted heads in the past. But I do think the show definitely magnified that side of things. When I was good friends with Brooks, it was always just me and Brooks. It was never really, we were never with a group of girls. And I
Sure.
think that definitely can change the dynamic. And then, of course, when you put cameras and lights and TV into the mix, it, it can magnify things. But I'd be lying if I told you that no, we've never had issues. Of course, we've had issues, very minor things. We've always kind of moved past it. But I'm the type of person I try to deal with it head on. If you're a good friend of mine, I'm very honest, and I'll tell it to you straight to your face. And I think that's what good friends do.
The Queen's dinner didn't necessarily go as planned.
Mhm.
Side conversation again caused a little bit of a reaction. How did that escalate to the point it did?
I'm honestly still confused about that. Sergio had been speaking to my husband about some of the comments that, had been made to him. And I just felt the need, when it comes to like people's marriage, it's not something to like discuss in front of, all the girls, because I know had I done that, everybody would have kind of chimed in and maybe made it more of an issue. And I didn't want it to be an issue. I was literally just, I wanted to tell her, like, look, just maybe have that conversation with Sergio or have that conversation with Yasmin. I was coming from a good place. But look, I mean, to the girls' defense, they didn't know what I was taking Caroline out
Of
of the
course.
table for. So I get it. Maybe they were like, like I get it. Maybe they were like, oh my God, are they talking about me? Or, the paranoia probably kicked in. But I was really coming from just a genuine place because had I been Caroline in that position, I would have wanted, and somebody were to tell me that, I would have wanted it to be, in private, just away from the dynamic of, everybody else putting their 2 cents in. And then it just got escalated and I got called the B word 4 times and, you know, and here we are. But Lisa did apologize 4 times.
But I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. I would love to play a quick little game. It's what I call tea time. It's going to be
I
a little
love a
word
good
association.
game. Okay.
I'm going to give you a name of one of your fellow castmates, and you're just going to
Okay.
give me a word or a phrase that first comes to mind. Let's go with Lisa Milan,
Oh, Lisa Milan. Pageants.
Sarah Almadani,
Mm, Buddha.
Saba,
Who?
Chanel Ayan,
Iconic.
Stanberry,
Legend.
and Brooks.
Complicated.
I'll give you one more. Taleen Marie.
Genuine. What you see is
I
what you
love
get,
that.
Michael.
I love
Thank
that. Well, I am so excited to see what comes next. I know you've said
you.
it's going to be an emotional roller coaster.
It's a hell of a
I
season.
and I hope also personally that we get some music from you because you got an
You will.
incredible voice.
Oh, you're so sweet. You will. It is coming. I promise. And I hope we do get a season 3 because I want to show more of that. And I'm
I can't
excited
wait.
about that.